Pickaxe.
Join us at patreon.com/castparty for a whole plethora of exclusive goodies. 5-day early access to every Cast Party episode, including Nocturne, ad-free episodes, behind-the-scenes info, exclusive bonus monthly one-shots, access to our community Discord, where our community plays D&D games together, has game nights, and hosts so much more, all for less than the price of a single cup of coffee per month. Aren't convinced? Try out a free trial. 7 days free to check out the content that we offer only exclusively on our Patreon. Patreon.com/castparty. Support your favorite D&D podcast, all while getting some awesome perks. Patreon.com/castparty. See you there, casting crew.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cast Party. My name is Colin McManus, and I will be your director for today. I'm joined by Ryan McManus.
Ryan McManus playing Bjorg Jorgensen, the Jewel of Debauchery.
Anna Brisbane.
Lenore DeVere, Chaos Fairy, excited to push all the buttons.
Nigel Deacon.
Hi, I'm Nigel playing Jackal Campman, the Leopard Loner striving for companionship and control.
Vince Perino.
I'm playing Tevin, the mechanism of discovery, reconstructing memories one piece at a time.
Raquel Skellington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Raquel Skellington. I play Poppy, the tender-hearted giant.
And Luis Carrazzo.
Hello, I'm Luis Carrazzo, and I play Santos the Glavenator.
Let us talk about what happened last time. You woke in the cave after this altercation with the Dream Whisperer. Jack grabbed you some breakfast, and you all decided on your plan to head towards the nearest landing site of a piece of Ilos's orbital from the map you got from Nightshade. Along the way was also the location of Santos's home. Along your travels, Jack pulled out the egg-shaped stone and continued to be enthralled by it, remembering the dream of the desert and even feeling the sun beat down hot like it was in the dream. Poppy began to fix up her shoes and tried to befriend a squirrel with some rations before it scurried up a nearby tree. You found shelter for the night. Santos and Bjorg spoke about the quiet, leaving the loudness of the city, being able to hear your own heartbeat. You talked about how it's easier out here, that with monsters in the night, you know their intentions, but sometimes it's hard to figure out who people really are. We also learned that Bjorg snores. Santos recounted a bit about his parents and his childhood before heading to sleep. Across camp, Poppy and Lenore spoke about New York and Chicago. Lenore drowning and feeling like the stakes aren't as serious because if she dies, she'll just wake up somewhere else. You both spoke about names, how Poppy is her chosen name, and Lenore is using her fiance's last name. That night, Santos dreamt of his childhood room. It was so serene until he needed to look for something anxiously, something he thought he had lost. An alarm clock went off, loudly interrupting his search. He unplugged it and hid in the closet in the dark. Eventually, the closet door opened where the light streamed in, and he remembered leaving home and passing by the remains of the old orange tree. This symbol of being close to home had been cut down, and he left his home, bags in hand. The next day, you continued your travels. Santos and Poppy laid in the grass and looked at the clouds. Santos told Poppy he thinks he was a bad kid and hopes his parents still care about him. He also mentioned he likes not knowing who he was because he can make up who he could have been. Poppy retorted that she wouldn't do that if she could, because if we erase our past, we wouldn't be who we are today. Santos saw the orange tree in the clouds before moving on. During travel, Lenore got caught up in a flock of birds, flying with them as they moved as a massive group. The rest of the day was a lot of walking, but as a fork in the road came up, Santos saw a stump of an orange tree. The orange tree he remembers so fondly, with a small sapling growing next to it. Now, Jack and the others have continued 10 feet or so down the pathway to the right, passing by the stump as if it was just another tree in the forest. Santos, you watch this small sapling as the wind blows its fresh branches that have begun to form. And so the scene is set. The question is, what will you do next?
I imagine I'm staring at the sapling. I'll call out for Lenore. Hey, Lenore.
Huh?
Can you come take a look at this, please?
Yeah? I'll flutter over. It's a little tree.
Does it need help?
What am I, a gardener?
No, but, you got nature magic. I thought maybe you could at least maybe know something about it more than me.
I'm gonna try to druid craft. Do I know what kind of tree this is? No. But I'm gonna druidcraft and try to make it bud or blossom or fruit. I'm just gonna try to make it make something, because I don't know what the something would be.
You find a small bud coming off the bottom of one of these branches. There's plenty of leaves. The leaves are growing just fine, but there's a small bud that looks a little bit different. It starts to flower with a little bit of white petals coming out of it.
I mean, it seems alive. It seems like it can make things when it gets bigger, and
Okay, that's good.
yeah, it should be fine. I don't see why not, as long as no one cuts it down like this one.
Huh. With that, I'm going to look down like both roads, and I'm just going to start. I'll turn back to the group and say, are you all sure you want to come with me to see where I grew up?
Yes?
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, Santos. We have nowhere else to fucking go right now.
And that sounds fun.
You could have put that nicer.
Well, there's your place, and then what's the other one?
I think heading further down towards where the crash site is, and I kind of sort of confused, pull out the map, and I'm trying to get a sense of like, okay, where are we right now in terms of there's this fork in the road, is my home to the left, and is where the crash site down that way as well, but further, or is a crash site the road to the right?
It looks like there is a fork to the left, and you could continue following that road and go much further north into Icaria. And this looks like it would get you to the crash site eventually, going just on roads and paths. But if you go right, this is where you believe your home to be. And it looks like a shortcut through the forest that would get you closer to the crash site as well. Jack was already going that way to get you there a bit faster, just to go through the forest instead of, just staying on the trails and taking a few more days, as well as this is where you mentioned your home to be.
Yeah, let's follow Jack. We right is where the road to the right is where everything that we're looking for lies. Ugh, and I shudder at it finally hits me that I'm like, oh my gosh, am I really going to go home? If Jack is already going down that path, I'll follow him forward.
Are you okay with us being with you when you go home?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would rather have you there. Of course.
You're not embarrassed of us.
Of all the things that have occurred to me in the time that I've been spending with you all, interestingly enough, I don't think that has ever entered my mind once.
Okay, great.
Is embarrassment a good or bad thing?
It depends.
When is it good?
I think embarrassment can be good when you've messed up, and it can teach you when you've done something wrong because you're embarrassed about your behavior. But it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. Sometimes it's a learning opportunity, and that's a good thing.
So I have been embarrassed a lot then.
Probably.
That's okay. We've all been there, buddy.
You're going up a small hill. You remember this view of over the hill, being able to start to see these structures in the distance. What are you thinking about as you're beginning to crest this small hill ahead of you?
I think I'm trying to take in what's around me because I'm trying to piece it together with when I was last here, which was already many, many years ago, and trying to... I'll actually say out loud to whoever's next to me, I feel like I should be getting some sort of sense of like, I don't know, nostalgia or something, and I'm not getting anything. I'm not even sad about that. It's weird. What a weird homecoming to not feel anything.
Yeah, that's weird. You don't have, opinions about your family and your home?
I think with that, I keep moving, but it's slowed down a little bit. Lenore, the only thing that comes to mind if I'm really digging for something is this, I miss something. I feel like I miss what it was like to be a kid, what it was like to just hear my parents and know that they were near.
Yeah.
But even when I try to think of them, they're I don't know, it just seems like far away.
Does it feel like it wasn't even you?
Kind of. it kind of feels like I was watching myself. I can see 7-year-old me getting up in the morning and going out and having breakfast ready, and I can hear a dog. We had a dog. What the fuck was my dog's name? I don't remember my dog's name, but I hear him barking when I think about it, and it just seems so nice. I guess I kind of miss it. I can remember going outside, and I remember the sound of a creek, hummingbirds. I can see myself going with the dog. It's a big dog, like a giant, almost wolf-like looking dog. I can see myself walking with him to the edge of the creek, and then just sort of and sitting there and watching insects and the fish, and it all seems pretty clear, but distant.
Poppy, you have memories of a whole life here, right?
I do.
Are they through your eyes or some from out of body?
For me, it's through my own. But for all we know, that could just be a matter of interdimensional interpretation.
Yeah. Well, I know all about interdimensional science.
Do all memories come from personal experience?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just throw like one arm around the shoulders of whoever's to my left, and then my right arm around the shoulders. I imagine Poppy's like to my right, and so like I can barely reach my arms around your shoulders because you're so tall.
You're like,
I'm like, and Lenore, you're probably flying kind of above. Jack, you're up ahead. So Bjorg, wherever you are, I pull you in. Tevin, you're too. I can't reach you. And I just kind of squeeze you all, and I'll reach back and give Tevin a tap on his metal chest. I really, you guys are being really good to me right now, and I just want you to know that it's not lost on me. I think I'm okay. I just kind of want to go and see, not just with my own eyes, but I really want to trust your eyes, see what you see.
I get that.
Okay.
It's always good to have another perspective, too, just in case you get lost in your emotions. An outside source might help reel you back in case things aren't as they seem.
We're here to support you.
Let's go see if my dog's still around.
You continue up this small hill. Jack, you're the first one to crest, but Santos is just a few steps behind. As you start to see into the distance, this forest opens up into a clearing. But instead of structures happily standing in a field, there is gray, wasteland. Remains of blackened trunks and scorched earth. The ground looks mostly barren, covered in a fine layer of ash. It looks like a fire has rampaged through this area. And where you remember home, a village, town structures, is a burnt field.
Maybe this is the wrong place. This map is pretty, it's not really that exact.
I walk past Jackal and I give you like a tap on your shoulder as I move forward silently for now. I need to get a closer look because this is a surprise. I'm going to go right where I thought where my house was.
At the edge of the field, some of these trees stand singed but alive. As you're walking into the ash, there are small cracks in this blackened earth where you see tiny shoots of green pushing up. Some hardy grasses starting to regrow, even the beginnings of some new saplings. Mushrooms have started to grow on charred wood from fallen logs, thriving off of this decay here. Ahead, where your house was supposed to be, there is a patch of color in the gray. A small patch of purple flowers pushing through the ash.
I want to go to those flowers and get a good look at where my house is supposed to be.
Roll me investigation.
8.
These flowers, you're not quite sure what they are, where they come from, but they are the only real life that has sprouted in this area since the fire.
I turn around to the rest of the group. I think my face is neutral, maybe. This is where I grew up. This is where my house was. I remember my house here, and it's clearly something happened here. Lenore, can you, and I'll point out the flowers and I'll point out the grass that's growing. Is there a way that anybody here can determine how long ago whatever fire happened here, how long ago it happened?
I'll try. I'll go look at it and see if I can figure out how old these saplings and flowers and stuff are.
Bjorg would like to go over to a pile of ash. This is a long shot. I want to cast Ibjorgify on the pile of ash to potentially see if the fire that rampaged the town was magical in doing, or was it a natural fire?
Lenore, I'm going to have you roll nature first, and then we'll get to you, Bjork.
19!
You recognize these purple flowers as fireweed, a rather pretty purple flower that shows up in places where forest fires happen. They are some of the first things to bloom because their seeds are so easy to carry on the wind, and they just thrive in the decay. They're typically seen as a sign of something new. From quick glance, especially with the nearby saplings and these grasses, it looks like this fire happened a few months ago. Bjorg, as you take ash, specifically this ash right where Santos believed this house to be, you cast Identify on it. There's nothing magical about the ash. In fact, there's nothing man-made about the ash. It's just wood. It's just bark. And as you look around, there's not a single sign of an old structure.
I'm gonna move through the ash and dig through it. I just need to know if anybody died. If there's any remains here, I just need to know. And I just start moving through the ash.
Santos, I don't know if anyone was here to begin with.
What do you mean? But I know this place.
This fire, it was a normal forest fire. If anything, it just swept through some trees. This wasn't accelerated by magic. This was natural, at least according to this ash right here.
I can accept that. I just need to know I just want to know if anybody succumbed to the fire. And if they're not, if I don't find any remains, any bones, then I know that they got out and they moved on somewhere else. There's no way to know that there's no resonance or anything radiating from this. There's just, I know forest fires happen, but that doesn't make them less dangerous or lethal than anything other than a natural fire. Can you just help me? And I will pull you down, Bjorg, and I will start using your hands to dig through the ash with me.
I'm going to hastily move over and kneel in front of Santos and kind of grab him by the shoulders and make him look at me. There's no one out here. And I'm going to try and just grab your hands and just hold them. We're the only ones out here right now. We're probably the only ones that have been out here in a long time. These things happen.
This is where my home was, and I take your hand and I'm leading you through my home. This is the room that I stayed in. This is where the bed was, where I would get up every morning and throw the blanket off of myself just the way that I described earlier. And from there, I jumped out of my bed, and right here would be when I would hear the dog, which, if I remember right, would sleep in the corner over there, and I would smell the breakfast. I would smell bacon and eggs and then I pull you through the doorway into the room, out into the living room, and I pull you towards that counter where I would sit right here, and this was always my spot. I always sat in the same place, and my mom, I would see her right there on the opposite side of this counter, her back towards me, her long black wavy hair. I can remember the smell. I remember the smell of her hair. This is where I grew up.
I believe you. But Santos, there's nothing here. There hasn't been anything here in a long time. We've dealt with a lot of fires back home, right? The town catches fire sometimes. These storms are crazy. There's no wood. There's no stone. This was just forest.
Nothing here gives way to any sort of civilization.
I understand what you're saying, and I know you're right. I need you to walk me through it, please. I need you to walk me through how you know that this was never a house.
If you would allow me to assist, I think I might know a way. I will walk in front of you guys, and Colin, if you will allow me, I'd like to take 3 of those new rounds out and put in 3 force ballista rounds. As I shoot them in 3 different directions in front of me, the force coming out of each round, could that clear out Ash to then see the ground?
Yeah.
I will do it in all directions of where he had been pointing at, where his house was. And you said your street and other buildings near you, I believe?
Yeah. Other buildings were near here, and the way to the creek that I would go to is over there. Is there even... I'll stop as I say that and try to listen for a creek. Is there any sound of running water?
You're listening, and you remember the sound of the creek, the sound of hummingbirds. Then you hear none of that. There's sound of forest nearby, but a woodpecker, not hummingbirds, and no water.
I see no signs of anything man-made. You can see as well.
I don't know if this is any real solace, but I'm going to squeeze your hand. Maybe this just means that home is somewhere else. Your home's still there, but it's just not here, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's it. I mean, I haven't been there in a long time, and maybe I just got mixed up, and maybe I pointed us in the wrong direction, and I feel like it's here.
Home is not lost. It is out there somewhere. You will find it.
I'm glad you all are here, and I'm okay. I am choosing, and I'll point at Jack. I'm gonna make a choice, and I'm gonna choose to believe what you just said, Jack. It's not hard for me to imagine that I got mixed up. It's actually pretty easy. It's been a long time. This is just a different place. Oh, that orange tree, that I remember seeing that when I left. That was proof that at least where I grew up is near here. Why can't I remember my dad? I don't remember seeing him when I was having breakfast. I don't remember hearing his voice. But I remember knowing he was there. Maybe he slept in a lot.
Or worked early?
Yeah, I think so. I think do remember him coming home actually at night. I remember him coming through the door and looking at me like he had missed me all day long, and then him grabbing me and picking me up and hugging me, and he was I don't want to I don't know how to say I don't know how to speak right now, but I don't really want to I want to move on. Okay, this probably wasn't where I grew up. There's no sign of structures and no sign of bodies or remains, and
I'm going to give Santos a hug. I'm just, as he's talking, I just come in for a hug, which is low because I'm short, but it's tight.
I kind of let my arms drape over you like dead weight, and then I rest my chin on the top of your head. I believe what you're all saying. I think you're right. I think this was a forest fire that just burned some trees and some shrubs, and I think you're right. I'm mistaken. This is not where I grew up. there's no evidence of any structures here, and it looks like there's no remains. It just makes me feel a little bit weird because I'm now finally feeling this really weird feeling that someone is fucking with us, and I don't like it.
We want you to know that we believe you, Santos, when you say that you have these feelings about this specific plot of land. Your feelings are valid. They're not being pushed aside, they're not being brushed off, you're not being mistaken. Just given the evidence that we can see, we're just trying to tell you, like I said, from an outside perspective. But we believe you.
I get that. I don't know if I believe me.
Maybe we should walk. Just away from this for a bit.
Yeah, let's go. Let me know if you spot an orange tree. I haven't had an orange in a long time. Have you, any of you are there oranges in Twin Rivers?
Sure, they're native to this area. You just gotta find them.
The only food that should have something in between me and the food is a muffin. I'm going to undo the wrapper. You want me to undo a wrapper for a fruit? No, that's too much work.
Why don't you can't make a little robot that does it for you?
I could, but that's even more work to get it a fucking fruit. All of that to say, no, I haven't had an orange before.
To the crash site! Unless that's wrong too. Maybe this whole map is wrong.
Let's work on that. If we get to the crash site and it's not there, then this map is fucked and we don't have to worry about it. We can throw it away and go about our business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do remember that Santos was the one to point out on the map where his village was. The map never had a symbol for it. The next closest symbol is about probably a day's journey away. Getting to evening time, so probably a bit more walking, find a nice spot to camp for the night, and then the next day probably get to that village, and then the next morning head out for the crash site.
Great. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
A little bit more upbeat on the way. You guys are able to walk through this burnt field back into the forests. Another maybe hour of travel until, Jack, you're able to find a nice spot to camp for the night, and everyone able to take their time, find a good spot.
During our walks, have we encountered animals and other things of that nature? Like everything feels like alive and well. No like signs of resonance or bad behavior out in the woods.
Roll me wisdom.
Oh God. 3.
Man, you're lucky because you haven't had much signs of resonance.
I'm so glad we have such a trusty tracker to keep us safe through this whole time. I just want to take a moment and thank Jack for guiding us safely through the wilderness. We haven't had any sort of kerfuffle or anything, and it's just been straight shooting from here.
Yeah.
That's all. Just a moment of recognition for our favorite bunny boy.
Thank you.
Poppy knocks on wood.
I appreciate being recognized, and I hope everyone enjoys their squirrel.
This better not be my wife, Lenore.
This is a part of why I always like to run around. Back in Twin Rivers, I would go outside every day. I'd eat like a king, and I wouldn't have to go inside and worry about buying meat or a muffin or something, you know? Can you guys starting to understand like why I was the way that I am?
Is there a muffin tree?
Exactly.
Not that I found.
Then what's the point?
I'll keep looking then.
I still think we could probably make muffins inside of Tevin.
I bet I can make a perfectly good muffin tin to make 6 perfect muffins. And then if someone else can fit the ingredients in, we can just leave them in Tevin overnight when he goes into his little beep boop mode.
Can we not talk about using our friend as our personal oven?
I am not just an object.
You aren't an object, Tevin. That's right. You are not an object.
I am not. That is correct.
Yes.
I am a Tevin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to utilize party resources. Should I not use you for your large stature and your hard fist? Should you not use me for my guns and my toys?
Hey, yo.
I'm just saying, we have what we have. we might as well use it to enhance
I
our
think you should
living
quit while
situation.
you're ahead, Bjorg. I think.
Yeah.
Bjorg, come here. I got something to tell you.
Listen!
Boo.
As Bjorg is going on his mildly sexual rant, I'm having like a moment of like, I've definitely cooked out in the woods before, but not in these woods. And like, I'm kind of like piecing together a thought, a memory of back home, remembering camping. And there's you can make a stove out in the woods that you can use to like heat yourself. You just have like sheets of metal that slide together to make a box.
I'd take a step away.
Yo, you probably got a whole pocket full of metal. Like, just make a square.
I'd take another step away.
If you can make a square and make a little like stovepipe, that's an oven. That'll keep us warm anywhere and cook things. You don't want to be stuck out in the Appalachians without anything to keep you warm.
The Appalachians.
Maybe that sounds like a place that I've been.
Like North Carolina?
No, actually. Maine sounds more... Is there like a Maine Appalachia?
I guess so.
I think I used to stay in Maine then. Maine Appalachia.
Are you from Maine?
It's cold there.
Maybe. I don't have enough of the memory to know. But I remember the stove.
Do you like lobster?
I was just about to bring up lobster rolls, but I don't think they have things like that, the sea bugs that we had.
There are bugs in the sea.
Well, they're not actually bugs, but a lot of people call them sea bugs.
No, I don't know what a lobster is.
Bugs shouldn't exist anyway, let alone in the sea.
Listen, they're tasty. Don't knock it before you try it.
You eat bugs! Ew, Poppy! You eat bugs!
Don't knock it before you try it, all right? Shrimps is bugs.
Ew.
I mean, protein's protein, right? And I'll roll over.
As you guys are going to bed, is anyone staying up for watch? Poppy, are you staying up late? Are you going to bed now, getting up early?
Meditate now, get up early.
I'm sort of replaying the events from earlier today and remembering how everybody was towards me, and I notice that as I'm playing it back, I'm remembering it from a first person perspective, looking at everybody else as I'm remembering it sort of stays with me. And I'll turn over, say to Lenore, and I don't know where you are, Lenore. I don't know if you're next to me or if you're across from me, but I'll just kind of like, as I'm looking up, as I'm like laying back with my eyes closed, I'll say, hey, Lenore.
Yeah.
I'm remembering earlier today, and I guess Lenore and everyone, whoever's awake, I just want to point out that I am remembering stuff that we've recently done, and I'm remembering it from myself.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's the normal way of remembering things, right?
Yeah, that's normal.
I feel like I have this thing inside of me that like is fighting something. I just want peace. And I don't know if that's tied into any of these memories that are lost. I just know that underneath it all is this really, really strong desire to just have peace. And with that, this like almost orb of translucent light kind of emerges out of my chest. And I open my eyes and I see it right in front of me. And it's a familiar type of energy. You've seen me conjure this before, but this time I reach out and I grab it. I start to mold it with my hands, and I pull it and stretch it, and I tear it into 3. And I take one and I throw it over to Poppy. I take another and I throw it over to Lenore. I'll throw this last one to Tevin. This one's for you, buddy, because I think you need it just as much as I do sometimes. I'm activating Emboldening Bond amongst the 3 of you. It'll give you an extra D4 on ability checks, on saving throws, and on attacks.
I try to catch it.
It's like catching air, kind of, and you the wisps of it kind of go through in between your fingers and kind of dance around, and then just get absorbed into your body, and you feel yourself just a little bit uplifted, emboldened, and focused, and it feels like you just took a deep, calming breath, and you feel slightly at peace. As that happens, I say, the thing that I remember more than anything is that peace that you all give me. And I'm just so grateful to be here with you all. And I feel taken care of. And so I hope I can find ways to give you a little taste of that sense of peace that I get from you. Thank you.
That's really nice, Santos.
I'm going to try to sleep now.
Okay, me too.
You just hear, good night.
I hope your rest brings you peace, Santos.
Thank you.
Tevin, are you watching over the group again?
Yeah, I'd like to be at a better angle where I could keep the best look at Santos.
You power down into your sentry mode. Your eyes flicker and you still stay open. And you're watching the group. You're still feeling that power that Santos pushed towards you, this radiant light. And you start to feel it through your body and then also on your hands. As you look down, which finger was your ring on?
I believe it was on my pointer finger.
It just has a slight radiant glow to it. And then as you look back up, you still see all of your friends in front of you, but you're picturing that burnt field. Like they're all sleeping on the field, and you look back and there is a spark from your ring, that radiant light, and they all disappear.
Hello? Where have you all gone? Santos?
It is evening. It is dark out. You're in this burnt field, and there's a bit of moonlight coming from overhead. Right now, even though you went to bed with clear skies, the sky is very much clouded and dark. It reflects off of something onto the back of your face. And as you turn, it's reflecting off the large windows of the house. The flag stays still in its holder coming off of that large wraparound porch. And you see some light coming from just inside the front door, but the rest of the building is dark. But as you look down and you lift your hand up, your skin of your palm facing towards you, around that pointer finger where that ring was is a key ring with a bronze key on it, as well as you see a small keychain sized pocket watch hanging from it.
Does the pocket watch have any insignias on it?
I want you to roll me investigation, and you are emboldened, so you may do so with a D4.
Nice.
Oh god, 11. But I'm gonna use that D4, right?
And it's ongoing. It's like, it's once a turn.
Wow.
Oh god, that was an extra 4, so 15.
It's pretty ornate. This looks like a nice pocket watch. It's very small. You don't see any insignias with names or anything on it, but you do see a small symbol. It looks like a 2D bird looking towards the right. It looks like a logo.
What time is it?
10:49.
Does the house have snow on it again?
No.
I will get up and walk to the front door. At first, I want to knock.
You wait, and there's no response.
Screw it. I'm going to open the door. I'm going to put the key in and try to open the door.
You realize quickly that the bottom handle is able to be opened, but that top lock, that deadbolt, key fits right in, and you click it open. And then you push the door. Opening the front door of this house, you are greeted with a 21st century style home. The entryway is softly illuminated by a lamp placed on a small table to your right. You can see that one of the two bulbs is out. The rest of the home is quite dark. There aren't any lights on. Your eyes adjust pretty quickly. There's like a small rack for storing shoes, some jackets line coat hangers on the right wall. Ahead, you see a staircase leading upwards to a second story. There's a short hallway just next to it that continues to the back of the house, just to the left of that staircase. And on the left wall, there is a closed set of double doors. And just to the right of those double doors is this large, ornate grandfather clock. And you're watching its pendulum moving silently in the darkness. And you can see that second hand is ticking away in this relative darkness.
How many pairs of shoes are there?
A dozen.
Varying sizes?
With a quick look, you see maybe 3 different sizes, maybe 4.
I will step in fully, close the door behind me, but not lock it. Hello? Is anyone here? Please. Dog? Dog, are you here? Whitaker. Is Whitaker here?
From the back of the house down this short hallway, you hear glass shatter.
Is that someone? Please show yourself. I'll start walking towards the sound.
You follow this small hallway and it leads to a kitchen. There's a back door here as well as a door open to your left leading to a dining room. Kitchen is pretty small and looks very freshly used. There's stacks of dirty plates filled with food scraps in the sink, pots and pans still on the stove with leftover sauce and veggies and things in them. There's a wooden board on a nearby counter that has a few scraps of cheese and a number of olives still left on it. You see this metal machine that is open with more plates inside, and just next to it is the shattered remains of some sort of glassware.
You said there was another door?
It's open. You can see right into it. It looks like a dining room. There's some wine glasses on the table, a few bottles of empty wine. One is on the kitchen counter, and then another one that looks like half full in the dining room.
Any windows in the room that I could look out?
The door here has windows that leads outside, as well as there's a window above the sink.
I'll look at the window above the sink, see if there's anything in that direction.
Roll me perception.
Dirty 20.
Outside is still burnt field, but as you're looking about this kitchen, you can see that it was very heavily used recently. As you're looking about, you find a recipe, and it says lobster thermidor with Bernays asparagus. There's a bunch of writings all over it. There's question marks next to the word Bernays. There is a bunch of writing down of where they can get the ingredients for these things. And at the very bottom, it says Ty's favorite dish.
Ty? Ty, if you are here, I would very much like to talk to you. Have it your way. I will find you then. Going to turn around, and I want to go upstairs now.
You head back to that main room, walk by the grandfather clock, start heading upstairs. First step onto the first stair, you hear a loud crash on the second floor and immediately start to hear the sound of sirens. There is a flashing red streak of light coming from a room upstairs, and it's filling this landing as you walk up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, there's a few doors here, 3 doors to your left and ahead of you that are all closed. Then there's one directly to your right, and it's slightly ajar, and you can see that this red flashing is coming from inside and casting a shriek of red light up and down your entire face, almost blinding you as you're looking through this little crack in the door.
Does it seem like the door is bolstered shut almost, or can I push it open easy?
Push it open with no trouble whatsoever. Inside, you find a child's room. It's pretty small, has a bed pushed into a small alcove. The dinosaur wallpaper is peeling from where it meets the window. And across the floor are dozens of toys. There's a bin on its side, and it looks like it's facing away from an open closet door. And you can see a broken shelf in the closet. Boys' clothes have fallen off the hangers and onto the ground. And ahead of you, a white toy truck flashes with a light spinning atop, and that's what's emitting this siren.
I'll reach down and pick up the toy.
The front of the toy says ambulance.
Do I notice any way of shutting it off?
You're able to play around with it, and it's just a button right on the top. It looks like it must have gotten hit, and the light stops and the siren stops.
Does it look like anybody has been in the bed recently? Is it made?
Made nicely.
Can I look under the bed?
A few extra toys, a small box. Pulling it out looks like an old shoebox, and there are pictures of what looks to be some sort of museum or place of learning that's all based around space. So there's pictures of stars. There looks like there's all of these different magnifications. There are these massive machines going into space. you see the top of the box says AJ's Dreams written in crayon.
Did I see any shoes that would be the size for a child?
Yeah.
AJ, if you are hiding in here, please come out.
The doorbell rings.
I'll run downstairs and I'll throw that toy back into the room as I do.
Returning to the foyer, looking down from the staircase, you see that the lamp is no longer on, though the porch light is now on, illuminating just outside the door.
AJ, if that is you, I will not hurt you. I would simply love to talk. I will open that door.
Dead center of the porch, you see a box wrapped in brown paper with a red yarn bow tying it together.
Who is out there? Please stop hiding from me. I do not want to play these games. Look down.
As you get closer to it, it says to Whitaker, tie.
I will pick it up and pull the red string off.
There's just a little bit of tape holding the brown paper on it.
I will take the rest of the wrapping off.
Opening up this wrapping, the box just looks like an ordinary cardboard box, so you're easily able to pull it open. You see inside is a note, as well as a small clock with a bow already placed on it. The clock is about a foot tall and has some small feet on it to sit on a shelf or table. And it looks ornate with some golden filigree surrounding the face.
I will put it back in the box and put the box on the ground. Just pick up the note and try to read that.
The note reads, Whitaker, thanks for dinner. Your wife was a delight. The story of the grandfather clock was impactful. She really loves timepieces. Give her this as a gift. Say it's from you. Keep it up, and this won't be the last you can give her. Glad you decided to take the offer. You won't regret it. Ty. P.S. The clock has a pull tab on the back, which allows it to start clicking.
I will reach back down and pick up, still with note in hand. The other hand, I will pick up the clock and look at the back of it.
There's a small little piece of white paper.
I will tug on it.
You hear the ticking of the clock as you get it started, and that ticking continues and gets louder and louder until it starts to hurt your head. It's all you can hear until you recoil in pain and you open your eyes to Icaria. The others around you, many still sleeping, and that ticking continues as you can hear the gears in your head tick, and then they start to get quieter. The sound is just a part of the background noise, and you feel normal again.
Nobody else is awake yet?
Poppy is.
If I look down at my hand with the ring, does it look different?
The ring on your hand now, instead of this slightly imperfect band, it still looks much like a ring, but where a gem or a signet might be, that part of the ring has begun to extend upward towards where your fingernails would be. Sticks out maybe an inch or two.
Noticing that, I'm immediately getting up and going to everybody that has a ring on and inspecting them.
Poppy's gonna get up and be like, Tevin, are you okay? What are you doing?
Look, please, check this.
Easy.
And I hold my hand up and show her the finger. Something has happened.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm assuming you probably had some dreams.
I believe so, yes. Dream, memory, I don't know what you call that. It was with that building again, with the house. I was able to go inside this time.
Okay. Why don't we come here? And she kind of starts leading him away from like towering over the sleeping remaining party members. She just sits with him on what I assume is probably a rock or a log that's like around where we're staying. How is it making you feel right now? Are you scared? It's like, do you feel like something's wrong?
I don't know.
That's okay.
There is so much I've learned from it, and it changes every time. But there was much more this time. Things moved. I was able to go through the entire building.
Okay. Did you see somebody else?
No, nobody would answer. There was no one but me.
Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe you're remembering more parts of who you are or who you were. I understand that you're probably feeling anxious or overwhelmed, but isn't this a good thing? This means the rings are working to give you what you've been seeking, right? And she like pats his robot shoulder.
There's much excitement to come from this, and confusion and worry. I'm worried that this might be an area I cannot reach. All these things within the building were foreign. I have not seen anything like that here.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you were thinking about stuff from a different realm. Stuff that doesn't exist here. Kind of like the place I'm from, right? There's like a lot of little things that me and Lenore talk about that aren't part of this realm. And maybe it's just things like that. And maybe each time you get in touch with these dreams or this part of yourself, maybe you'll be able to put more and more pieces together of either what was left behind or who you once were.
That is what I'm very much hoping for.
But it is odd that, I guess it's changed. I guess maybe you have too. But we should give your mind a rest for at least this morning. You want to go and try and find breakfast for everybody with me?
I can do that, yes.
Poppy gets up and she offers Tevin a hand.
And he'll take it.
You know, I don't like all the jokes about making you an oven. You're right, you're not an object. So let's prove it to them and get something good to eat that doesn't require putting it inside your belly.
We will show them.
We will show them. And I guess we go off to do that.
When we come back, before Bjorg gets up, I'm going to drop all of the berries I collected on him to wake him. An object I am not. Tevin, I am. And I walk away from him.
At least you did good. Pop a blueberry in my mouth. Would be better in a pie, I'm just saying, but it'll do. If you all would like to partake, I am a Bjorgery board right now. So please, have at it.
You're an object?
I am indeed today.
I will eat some berries. I will take them and wrap them up in like a strip of dry venison and kind of roll it up and smash it together. Try to make some sort of like sweet and savory combo.
Oh, I like that.
Like a meat Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
I liked it until you said that.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, same. I was vibing until you said it was a meat Pop-Tart.
Yeah, me too.
Gather your things, put out the fire that's dwindling, and ready to move on for the day. We're going to go back to we didn't do this in a while, our little montages. So Bjorg, you are next in our initiative order from our montages. What's something that happens to Bjorg along this next day of travel?
I realize that we're walking so goddamn much. Today, I have activated Corvus. I have taken my little monocle off my eye, slotted it in his to activate him and turn him on. I get him like a little paper airplane and I throw him into the air, but this time it's not for security, it's more for surveillance for my own profit. I would like to work with Corvus throughout the travel to try to find some peculiar rocks that I might be able to turn into some counterfeit rings.
Roll me a just straight up luck check.
14.
You're able to get a few. Jackal probably gets a little bit annoyed at you because you keep on asking to stop and go off the path. One even has a fossil in it that, isn't great for jewelry, but is cool.
See, now when we get to this next town or wherever we end up, it's nice to have a clientele that doesn't know who you are or what you offer. Because I, unlike, the rest of these pathetic merchants, offer real jewelry.
You're just putting rocks into metal.
But they're so shiny. Look at this one. And I hold it up and it kind of looks like a marble and I've been scratching at it to make it really shine. It is just a rock.
So what does that make it different compared to their jewelry?
Mine's better. just based on my word.
Oh,
You could use some, Jack. Have you ever thought about wearing jewelry?
I will not. It gets in the way of everything.
You need to accessorize some more.
Thank you for the offer, though. I appreciate that.
I'll get you to wear a ring one day.
Maybe if you made some brass knuckles for me instead.
But Poppy hits things so hard.
Fine, make me a bejeweled stick, then. I'll hit things just as hard.
Okay. I'll work on it.
And please, stay on the path for the next hour.
But this one over here looks really bright, Jack.
Another detour later. You guys get back on the path, continue on. Finally, Tevin, what's something that happens to you on this journey?
Most of these walks that we've been taking, I'm going to try to stick back behind where people can't see, trying to learn their mannerisms a little bit. So especially like with how, I guess you could say, emotional Santos has been lately, my focus has been on him a lot more, trying to make sure he's okay and just being there. But also that focus has then pulled my interest to how does he walk? How does he stand? What does he do? If anybody looks back, you can, for a second or two, catch me mimicking the way that he walks. And then when you do catch me, I quickly go back to my regular walk. You might see me tinkering with my chest a little bit after I'm done trying to mimic walks and learn how others walk a little bit. I'm putting a couple blueberries into my chest and closing it off to see what happens.
We'll have to get back to that at some point. Jack, you know that you're really close to this next village. Up ahead, similar to earlier, you are going up a hill, which is a little bit weird because you've been descending in elevation a long time, but due to this map, this kind of makes sense. It's a valley of sorts, and this just happens to be another hill. As you crest it, you see there is a pathway leading downward into this valley. There's a village below. Even from here, you can see that it's strangely still. There are numerous buildings, but no movement and no lights on. You see small fenced-in areas for livestock that are just completely empty, no animals in them. Even from here, you can see the buildings themselves look fine. No disrepair, not overgrown by plants or anything. Just still.
Folks, and I clap lightly to kind of get everyone to look at me.
Quiet coyote.
They're so loud at night. I don't know what that means.
I raise my hand in a little coyote symbol.
Yes, that's good. I'm going to use that. The town is below. It's up ahead. We're just about there, but it looks weird. There's no one there. Be on alert.
For no one?
For something, for anything. I don't know. Maybe this is just like the farm. That's my worry.
Oh.
Just stay on guard. Don't go gallivanting off alone. Take a buddy. This is where we should probably stay tonight, because this might be the first night that we're back undercover, but...
A real bed. Finally.
As you guys are descending, again, it's like this long pathway down the hill. Not exactly road, because it's all dirt, but like this is the pathway, the main pathway to get into this village. The village is pretty small, being able to overlook it. A couple dozen or so houses, maybe 3 dozen. A few buildings that are obviously meant for other purposes. As you're walking down, a tall one catches your eye. It's just at the base of this pathway that you're heading down. It's large and casts a long shadow across the village. It's made of stone, maybe 5 stories tall, and the top is open like a lighthouse. The top even looks like a lighthouse with a massive light fixture on it. You can see a bunch of metallic gears around it, but there's no light coming from it. It's completely dormant. Across the village, you see lanterns affixed to metallic poles, about 10 foot tall, and you see wiring connecting them all around the village, hanging from rooftops, affixed to front porches and balconies. But all of these lanterns have no light coming from them. You see ahead, there are a few of these lanterns flanking the path that leads to this village that you're coming down. And then there's another one right at the bottom where you see a message board. Jack, especially you from here, you can see that this board is just plastered with pieces of paper. And there are tons of loose pages all over the ground as well. stuck on nearby plants and rocks, others slightly blowing in the wind. Just a bunch of these pieces of paper everywhere.
This is crazy. They got like a lighthouse in the forest, and I'm immediately start flying up towards the top of the lighthouse.
Lenore.
Wait. I just said. Okay.
We're one of the pairs, and I'm flying up with Lenore.
You go inside and you see that place is only about 15 foot wide, but the center of it is taken up by this large piece of machinery. Most of it is a almost concave mirror. And then in the base of where this mirror is has almost like a brazier, but instead of wood and ash particles, you see a bunch of pink crystals.
Have I ever seen anything like those crystals before?
You do not recognize them.
The phones are working today, and Lenore has one. I have the other.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I forgot to say what my magic items were for the day, so it's Corvus and the phones.
Pixie to Hobo, there's a mirror bowl full of pink crystals over.
I don't know what a pink crystal is, but feel free to bring me one.
You don't know rose quartz? I wouldn't say it's that, but you know.
I'd also just like to chime in to Bjorg, like, while I'm looking at stuff. You think that's like one of those anti-resonance measures?
Oh, it could be. Did we hear anything about that in fucking what's-his-face's book? Officer Darian's. I know he had the clock, which is in my pocket. Not the clock, but the music box. I don't remember a lighthouse. Into the phone. Well, okay, so I went through my book. There's rose quartz. That stands for like love and harmony and positivity. Oh, there's also cherry quartz, which is love, comfort, and peace. So maybe if you were a little fucking nicer to people, this thing would work. Over.
I'm gonna fly away to hide from Bjorg's vision.
Can you tell her not to go alone to places, please?
I was mean to her instead.
You're a muppet.
Do I see where you go, Lenore?
Probably. You probably have the perspective to see me like behind the building or whatever.
Okay, cool. I'll go to Lenore if I see Lenore kind of going off to the side, and I'll ask. Oh, so what are they saying down there? And by the way, I do remember that we learned that there is a settlement that used crystals as a part of their resonance resistance, and it looks like maybe that's what these are for.
Really? So what if we could all hold one, or maybe we gotta figure out how to activate them?
I think this looks like a contraption that needs to be activated, and I think we probably need to get Bjorg up here. Tell Bjorg he needs to come up here and help us find a way to turn this on, because if this place had some device that helped resist the resonance, it's here for a reason. That means there must be resonance around here that needs to be resisted against.
Okay. I'm gonna fly back into the lighthouse. I'm gonna scoop up a bunch of the crystals, and I'm gonna cast invisibility on myself. And I'm gonna fly down to where Bjorg is, flutter right over his head. I'm gonna drop all the crystals on him.
Why is everything raining on me today?
I'm showering you with love!
Oh, okay, very clever, Lenore.
And I'm visible again. Santos said he wants you to come upstairs.
To the lighthouse?
Yeah.
Should we all come?
I want to look at this board. Why don't you take Bjorg up there, and me and Poppy can look at this, as long as you guys are cool with that split up.
Take Tevin so you have a gun. Good luck. Get us some jobs, I guess.
We'll meet you up there.
As you guys start to walk by, Jack, you're looking at this message board. There's all of these pieces of paper on the ground. You realize that as you're walking by, they all look like the exact same piece of paper or very similar to it. You see the same insignia on each one, the ones that you can see that are like face up and not like destroyed by dirt and rain and stuff like that. They all look like they have the same insignia on the top.
Do they say anything, or is it literally just insignia?
Looks like a flyer, a recruitment flyer from the Order of the Chrysalis. It has a picture of the silhouette of a city with large buildings, an orange beam of light heading towards one of the orbitals in the sky, the silhouette of a butterfly in the light beam, almost like it is heading towards the orbital. And it says on it, The resonance threat grows as the demigods fall. Only you can protect yourself and your family. Do better, be better. Grow your wings with the Order of the Chrysalis and take life back into your hands. And at the very bottom, it reads Recruiting Center located in the arcane city of Karmarth.
Oh, God, I hate that. Looks like a cult flyer.
Yeah. You think this has anything to do with Ilos coming down? Like, it seems pretty new, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that's a pretty good guess.
Okay, well, I think that we're probably more tied up in this than we want to be, considering our affliction. And I raise my hand and wiggle my fingers. This whole town got recruited or something.
On the message boards across most of the pages that have been left here, in orange paint, the same color as the beam of light on the flyer, there is a message painted on it in large letters. It says, Hollow Glen did not fall to the resonance. We took matters into our own hands. You will find us in Karmarth, donning new wings.
Oh, okay, that confirms the cult thing. Also, what happened to this town? Assuming is there anywhere, is there a street sign or something? Where are we?
I scoop up the crystals again and I fly to the top, so he has to walk by himself.
Wow.
Bjorg especially, as you are starting to walk towards the entrance to this lighthouse. It's on your left now. You've curled around it. You see this big entrance. At the bottom, there are these lanterns, like I said, that you've seen throughout. These are just a bit closer here. Jack, you see, again, there's one right by you, right by this message board. You and Tevin and Poppy are still there. And Bjorg especially, as you're walking by, you start to hear the sound of energy, like iridescent light. And there's this sudden pink glow coming from a nearby house to your right. There are some of these lanterns surrounding this one house. All of those lanterns have started to glow a vibrant pink color, the same color as these crystals that you have seen. The rest of you watching definitely see this happen. It is, again, getting darker. It's getting more towards evening. You see a small animal fly out of the chimney like a hawk, streamlining its wings to swoop down at something, but instead going up and out of this chimney of the house that has these lights. It flies up quickly and it spreads its wings and it starts to circle the village high. Lenore and Santos, you guys have a better look at it from where you are, and it's not much bigger than a house cat. And you can see it has bronze scales. It's circling just overhead before you watch it dive bomb towards Jackal, Poppy, and Tevin.
Well, that can't be good.
It looks like a small dragon with 4 legs, slender neck and head, and it heads towards Jack. But you see, as it's coming closer, it looks past you, just over your head. And about 50 feet from you, it opens its tiny little mouth and a lightning bolt shoots out of it and into the lantern that hangs above the message board. And it turns bright pink, just like the other lanterns surrounding the central house. And you see it curls back up into the sky and it lands on a nearby roof and just watches you. But Jack, Poppy, and Tevin, you are bathed in this pink light. It's much brighter and you feel a slight burning sensation. It doesn't hurt, but it almost feels like when you know you're getting a sunburn. And from this house that's surrounded by these lanterns now, you hear from a window on the second story, push open, and a voice shout, "Hey, you not resonance?"
No.
As you just say no, you see from this window, there is currently a barrel of a gun trained right on you. And all of a sudden the window gets thrown open and you see a halfling man with big bushy black beard and fluffy black hair atop his head. He hangs his torso out of the window and he holds the rifle at the hip, no longer facing towards you. "I'll be damned! Come on in, I'll start the stove!" And he gives a big wave to gesture you inside, and he stands up and closes the window.
Can we hear that from the lighthouse?
Yeah.
I'm going to look at Tevin and then start walking towards the house.
This little dragon is perched up waiting for you on a nearby roof, watching you, and it gets up and almost crawls on the roofs on its 4 legs like a house cat would. You instinctively, in your mind, feel like it wants to punch you, but because you look like a big rabbit, it thinks you'd be fun to play with.
And I like narrow my eyes at it, and I do one of the 2 fingers at my eyes, 2 fingers at it, and touch my hoopback. I kind of tap it and nod and just like keep walking. Like it's like predator versus predator kind of threats here.
You see its mouth open and it screeches, floats down, almost glides down towards the ground. Ahead of you, jogs past you towards the front of the building.
What was that?
Some man screamed out from the window over by Jack. He wants to feed us.
He wants to feed on us?
Feed us.
To who?
I hope no one. I hope he means just cook for us.
Oh.
He asked if we're resonant. And we're not, of course.
Of course.
Of course. Maybe we shouldn't fuck around with their thing. Yet, at least.
You think that little dragon guy turns on the lighthouse?
It could be. He swooped up from that building with all the lanterns and that turned pink.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna dunk all the crystals back into the lighthouse and come back down to the ground.
Wait, get Santos while you're up there.
I'm already here. I've been listening to everything you said.
He's right there.
Oh, God, swearing.
Come on. And I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to fly you down so you don't have to run all the way down.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if we were invited too, but let's join them.
All right.
Or maybe we listen from outside in case they need backup, and then we got the element of surprise.
I think that's a good idea, actually.
We can pretend like we're looking at the message board.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll drop you off down by the message board as they go inside, and then I'm going to keep flying up to the roof of the building that they're in, near the 2nd story window where he trained his gun on us.
I'm gonna perch on a chimney.
You see that from here, this small dragon has jumped up onto the roof. You feel in your mind that it thinks it's faster than you.
Oh yeah? I'm going to extend my hand and let him sort of sniff me if seems like he's going to do something like that.
Your hand comes down. There's almost a flash in your mind of the very simple image of a piece of meat as it cocks its head as it looks at your hand.
I'm going to pull out some of that dried venison and I'm going to toss him some.
And it immediately grabs it with its long neck, throws it up into the air, and then chomps it. Immediately starts chowing down. In your mind, you feel the feeling of a cat's purr throughout your whole body.
Ooh. I'm just going to hang out here with him then for a little bit.
Are you headed for the front door?
Yeah.
Santos, you see that this dragon ahead of you cocks its head to the right towards that front door, and you see it walks over and jumps up and then goes down the chimney into the house.
Aw, okay. I'm going to hang out by that 2nd story window and just kind of listen for a little bit.
I'll knock. That seems polite.
Doors open!
And I will enter.
It's definitely not like an inn or anything. This is definitely like a residential house. All of these lamps that were illuminated a moment ago, you can see they have since started to get dimmer and are no longer glowing. I should say, while you were outside, you would have seen a sizable shed off to the right side, and it has a bunch of these wires coming from it. They run to the lanterns that surround this house, and there's that front door. As you walk in, you are quickly inundated with smells. A fire's burning in a second chimney. One fireplace is used so like it can actually be heated, and the other one is completely dormant, and that is the one that you saw this little dragon shoot up and out of. The rest of this room is cluttered, to say the least, but you're smelling fire. You're already smelling the smell of spices, specifically like a cinnamon. You are also smelling body odor. It smells bad in here. Like it smells like someone hasn't showered in a while. And you see this halfling man come from the kitchen He waves as you enter. You see he's just got his gun out, but holding it by the barrel right now. And you can see him putting it over by the fireplace. Come on in. Don't got to take your shoes off, but give him a quick wipe on the mat. Friends are welcome too. I don't got lots of food, but I got some. Most canned goods, but still have some dried jerky that I wouldn't mind giving to some guests.
Thank you. We don't mean to be like unwanted visitors to the town or anything like that. You've been having some resonance problems recently?
We're gonna do serious talk. We might as well do it over an ale or two, right?
You know, I like that. I like that idea. My name's Jack, by the way.
Wipes his hands on his pants, walks over, hands you his very small hand. Name's Joran.
Joran. Pleasure to meet you and your little friend.
It pops out of the chimney just as you say that. It does that thing that cats do where it jumps at you like it's trying to get you, but was doing so jokingly, trying to get the drop on you. Oh yeah, that's Lil Monk.
Pleasure to meet you too, friend. And I like narrow my eyes at it again and kind of smile and go into like prowling stance a little bit.
Can I hear the conversation through the fireplace at the chimney?
Yeah. Where are my manners? And he goes over to a nearby table that is just covered in tools and stuff. There's some old clothes that have just been placed here. Like it's absolutely just messy. Pushes it off one side of the table and pushes it onto the ground. Takes a rag and wipes it down. Just in case you want to put your stuff down. I'm sorry. Again, I've been here alone a little while.
How long is a little while?
About a week or so.
Well, but that's shorter than I expected.
I've heard that before. And he slaps his knee.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for your thank you for having us in. Where's everyone else? I'm just gonna jump right into it. Where's the rest of the town?
As I said, if we're getting into serious talks, I need an ale. Dark, or we got a red?
You like, got a white?
I just like them strong.
That one's strong, and I'll grab this one.
I want to try to sneak down the chimney and just sit with everybody, but I want to do it without being seen.
He pours some ales for those who want it. All right, meal's gonna cook a little while, but don't gotta check on it too much. Let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? You want the serious conversations? Let's go serious. And for today, that's a wrap.
No!
I can't wait. What a cliffhanger.
Right.
He's gonna give us
Alright.
info.
Thank y'all so much for listening. We got lots to talk about over on Behind the Scenes. Patreon.com/cast party. Come join us. Because we had an emotional roller coaster. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Ah, this book has more recipes in it. A New Guy's Legendary Chili. Warning. Side effects include immediate regret, lifelong beef addiction, and the inability to taste anything else for 3 days. Interesting. Anne's Garlicky Bread. The secret is twice the garlic and a complete disregard for personal hygiene. Bastrop's Spiritual Pancakes. Step 1. Summon the pancake spirit. If it does not appear, start over. Dragon's Mac and Cheese. Achieve a cheese pull visible from across the street or throw it away and try again. Seriously, throw it away. Havo Chopsack's Apple Pie. Legally required at all family gatherings. Failure to bring one may result in exile. Attached is a court summons? Interesting. Dubward's Meatloaf. You either love it or you're wrong. Well, I don't want to be wrong. Saint E loves spaghetti. Do not ask about where the sauce comes from. Just accept it. But where could it come from if I am to make it? Eric Five's Sandwich. Technically, anything between bread is a sandwich. Requires 5 ounces of cotton candy. I don't think everything should or could be a sandwich. Heather's Fried Chicken. If it doesn't crunch loud enough to wake the neighbors, you have failed them. Who are neighbors? Isuik's cookies. Makes 24. Realistically, makes 12, because you ate half the dough. Jeski Fire's roast. Cook low and slow, like revenge. I wonder how revenge tastes. Jonas's grilled cheese. If you have to ask if you're using enough butter, you're not using enough. Judgment Day's everyday coffee. This is not just a beverage. This is a necessity. Haley's mashed potatoes. Lump-free, or you must face public humiliation. Lexi's brownies. If you cut them before they cool, they will be hot and gooey. This is not a warning. This is encouragement. Opti's deviled eggs. The most fought over appetizer. Make extra or prepare for battle. Then they provide combat instructions before the recipe. Intriguing. Ryan's cornbread. If it is too crumbly, it's bad. If it doesn't crumble at all, it's worse. It's all about balance. Or just get a box mix. They already figured the balance thing out. Bubba's stir fry. The secret ingredient is panic. If you're not moving constantly, you're doing it wrong. Winkle's shepherd's pie. Technically, if it's made with beef, it's a cottage pie, but we are all constantly lied to anyway, even by the people we trust most in life. Someone you cared for deeply could just thrust a lie deep into your back when you thought they were the one. Maybe they could lie to you right as you started looking at wedding dresses. I already had a venue picked out and everything. Hell, I had the caterers coming next week to give us samples of all the dishes we were going to serve. I even had them bringing shepherd's pie just for your Aunt Marie-Anne. But no, you had to go and lie and ruin everything like you always do. I don't even know what I saw in you. I can't believe I thought you were my forever. Now all I have left is this shepherd's pie, and it's not even a shepherd's pie. It's a cottage pie. It's just a lie, like everything else. So just eat the dang pie and leave me alone, okay? Just eat the delicious lie so you can forget. Oh, and I also add my onions halfway through cooking so they don't brown too quickly. I feel like I may have read something deeply personal. Maybe reading is not for me.